call the meeting to order then.
I'm going to have to give me a pen too, because I was going to do everything on this.
Oh, a pen, somebody have a pen.
Go ahead. Thanks. Lots of how I work anymore.
All right, let's do roll call. Scott Holman.
Here.
Dave Huskins.
Here.
Austin Smith.
Here.
I am here, Craig Szymborski. Commissioner Andrea Burney is not here. Richard Harnois.
Here.
Nick Stoviker. John Potts.
Here.
Riley Pavlak.
Here.
Jerry Samolsky is gone. And Charlie Binder said he was running late, right? Brian King is here. It should be quorum. I guess we'll move on to... Does anybody want to fill in as the chairman to run through this? Otherwise,
I can do it.
Okay.
I'll do both.
All right.
All right. Time for public comment. Does anybody here want to present public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. For approval of minutes from last board meeting, has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes from last? Jerry Samolsky. You moved that. Is Jerry the note taker?
Binder, your note taker.
Oh, shit, okay.
He said he was running late. All right.
All right. Is there any comments on the minutes from last board meeting? Any changes? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve.
Motion made.
Motion made. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, city update from the and airport manager report. Looks like we have a new board member, Austin Smith and Richard Harnoy.
Yes.
So, Richard? Rich?
Austin.
Rich and Austin. Good to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
What's your backgrounds?
I've been out here with my grandfather since
Oh, that's that.
Henry Smith.
Yeah, you're Henry Smith. Yeah.
For Christ's sake, since 2000.
Absolutely. I know who you are. Richard?
Retired law enforcement, Midland County, and then I own a national correctional food company. I do jails around the country for food.
Do you? Good to meet you guys.
Thanks.
All right. General facility report. Brian, you want to take A through F and just give us a...
Facility report?
The Curtis car, if you can say that.
Oh, Curtis, yeah, my handouts. Yep.
This is your time to shine, right?
Wasn't sure how long it takes, so I went over.
Go back there.
I'll be back.
If we hustle, we can get that. There you go. That would be smart. The door. Set the flow.
Would he cry?
Yeah, absolutely.
That says that you gotta get one.
Absolutely would cry.
So it's the slow time of the year, obviously, but still looked pretty average compared to years past.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the years past to print, so, and I'm not an Excel person, so I apologize. But and currently the tank is just over 5,500 gallons.
Did you notice a difference when after you lowered the prices?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And you want to tell them about the gentleman when you came out here to help Chuck Finder that one day, that Sunday afternoon? The gentleman from Saginaw, the Fremont?
I don't remember what he said there.
He did exactly what you said, pilots will fly out of their way to save a nickel.
Yeah.
And he came up here and I forget, it was like 70 gallons he got.
Yeah.
And he's got fuel on his field.
They're fantastic. Yeah.
So,
It's amazing, isn't it?
yeah. So,
Good.
what else is on
How much cheaper was here than at this field?
I don't recall. It's easy to look up on their ForeFlight or AirNav. Usually my number one competitor is Gladwin, which I don't understand, but okay.
I think we were like 5 cents lower than the next lowest one, weren't we? We were pretty close.
Yeah, we have an established formula now through fiscal services that we follow instead of just by the seat of your pants.
Good.
Which is very helpful. So there's that.
Seaplane dock, you want to talk about that at all?
What's that?
Do you want to talk about the seaplane dock?
So last summer, Craig and I met with the regional director of Customs and Border Protection. Our seaplane visitors, obviously most of them are during Oshkosh, has gone from 16 from 2016 to 2020 through 2023 to 16 just last summer. And so they were coming out here by appointment only. They asked if we would put in a dock because apparently they don't like walking in the river and slipping on the ramp.
Yeah.
And so the amphib planes obviously don't have much problem, but the straight floats. So we do have one dock, a floater that we'll be bringing down from Liberty Harbor Marina once that season kicks in. And
Are you replacing more docks at Liberty?
Not this year. Okay. No, we got to wait for DMR. So, but yeah, no, we got
That's good news.
so, yeah, to increase their ability, because the other option was they were not going to do any straight floats at all. If a person called in for an appointment and it was a straight float plane, that not an amphib, they were not going to do it. They were going to refer them to Sault Ste. Marie. And so I said, well, that's kind of stupid when I know we have one at the marina.
Yeah, you got it's a really unique airport. I mean, it's something
We're going to have
special.
to do some construction.
and build a gangway or
We got to
something.
build a gangway.
Yep.
And so, it'll be a work in progress, but we're going to get that in. Then,
Tree removal.
tree removal, tree removal. So that is coming to an end, if you can believe it. To our knowledge, everything is on the ground except the dozen or so south of the airport across the river. Now, we were not comfortable and had a hard time identifying what MDOT was saying had to come down, and so we asked them for GPS location, which they provided, and we took our GIS tech and his toys and we walked it, and Mark walked up right every tree that they had a location. There's only one that we are not going to cut down, and I've already planted that seed in their head that will be formally mentioned at our MAP meeting, and that is in an MDOT right-of-way along the rail trail that's there. The gentleman that is over that does not like me.
So we'll have that come from that arrow, basically.
Yeah, it's going to have to be done by MDOT and the same crew that cleared out here a year or so ago, and so they're all going to get taken care of. The Parks Department and I are going to go over there, and thankfully I got the blessing of the DNR, Crow Island Game Manager, just put them on the ground.
Oh, good.
Because if we had to haul them out, I have no idea how we do it.
So when do you think you're going to be doing that?
Hopefully the next couple weeks.
Yeah. We've been waiting for warmer weather because we're sissies.
Make sure
I ain't gonna lie.
you tore down the stumps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's the sad thing. Most of them are dead. But they do penetrate the part 77 surface, so they do have to go away.
There's a couple trees over there that are not in the way technically, but they're close, just others by Carquest over there. We did get permission from Penville Sewer to cut them down, so we're just going to work on trying to get the funds to cut them down. Just they're not in the way technically, but
So they're not part of the mandated removal.
no, but they're right on the edge. So
We don't know that for sure because
they weren't in last year's report or whatever the last report was. You can see that they were not. It was like
we're hoping that they haven't grown.
The stuff by Carquest that we see right now, is that part of this process? Or?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They took a lot of trees.
That's amazing.
That's carnage.
Yeah.
That's some nice property now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be, the city and I will be partnering with Wannsee to remove his debris. They had a lot more concrete than what was anticipated even after walking the site.
And I actually talked to Doug from Water today. They're gonna get a hold of you and come out and haul it away. So it'll be no problem.
Just take the concrete out, and there's tires, thankfully, Earth's coming, so we'll have a way to dispose of that, and then the metal.
Good.
The metal will be all taken care of. So
We did make it.
Scott replaced it. Okay.
So 5E, tree nursery.
So the tree nursery, as you know it, down here on the taxiway, will go away in 27.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. Now, they sent us an email in December saying, oh, we would like to meet, we got 500 more we want to plant at that site. And we went, no.
Good. Yeah, I disagree. I disagree with
We
that.
are letting them plant trees, but it's gonna be on the old compost site, which is completely off.
Yeah, that's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
We found a great place to put it.
Yep.
Yep. I'm gonna do some site prep for them, but, no big deal.
Yep.
So that they are going to plant more trees. And then winter operations, once we got past the middle of January, went really well. And I just wanted to, what we were able to do, Craig, actually it was the following, that Wednesday morning, or Thursday morning, whatever it was, Craig went back and he opened up our budget. And we'll just say we found some revenue that we did not know that we had. That was earmarked for other things that we were never going to do. And so with the blessing of fiscal services, they did a $5,000 budget transfer. So that took us up at that point to just over $8,000. I have expended, if I'm reading this correctly, 47% of that.
Yeah, we're at 4,233, so. So then it wasn't too bad this year, but we did budget for next year, another 8,000, so we should be sitting pretty good.
Yeah, and I raised hell last time, so I'll say that is dramatically improved after our last meeting.
It was never an issue of getting people here, it was just that
You didn't have the money, but I'm just telling you that it was
Yep.
Yeah, and it was-
a big difference. And the guys that were out here doing it did a good job too.
They were, they weren't, some of them was their first time here, so they went
Yeah.
really slow, which I appreciate that, but we did have one near miss that Saturday that we had to call people in. NOTAM was issued, NOTAM still had 2.5 hours active to it, and a pilot from Midland flew in and just about hit the big plow truck.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And so, that's, you can do everything. You got your radios, you got your NOTAM issued, you got all your lights on, everybody's trained, and you still,
Sure.
something bad can happen. So,
So bottom line on winter operations, you got 40% of the budget remains from this year and an additional 8K for next year.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, old business, airport rules and regulations. There's a supplement to the agenda today that outlines a formal set of rules and regulations, which I think we've been lacking for some time. So, does anybody, in review of this, does anybody have any commentary on what they've read?
A comment.
some of the two new ones.
There's a citation there to the federal record. It's a advisory circular, I believe it is, concerning hangar use. And in the original, there was the wrong citation, and I think that's been corrected now.
So under which category is that?
That was 5.3,
Yeah, at the end of the
5.3,
paragraph.
primary use of the buildings in the hangar area shall be limited to storage of aircraft, and then it goes on from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that citation at the end.
As I recall, there was some original language in there that was dated, I guess is the best way to describe it. I talked to Neil about it, sent in what I believe to be the correct citation, and it looks as though it's corrected, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't have any, and I wish I would have read the whole thing completely, and I didn't, but, one of my complaints about Neil is that he's overly cautious and averse to any risk at all, right? And the problem with that is he puts limitations on things that happen out here that would be the same as any other park in the facility, even though we have airports are covered by a whole separate set of insurance coverage. And that's the other one.
That is correct. There is the airport, as you know, the airport has a separate insurance policy with a separate carrier, and it is not the Michigan
Municipal?
Yeah, it's not the Michigan Municipal.
Yeah. So all that stuff is supplementary to
That's my view, and I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily want to debate you, but in the grand scheme of things, I thought that I agree with you, there's limitations on there. 2 points. Number one, many of those limitations are such that, that there's language in there, talk to the airport manager to get it worked out.
Yeah.
And that I think is good. Compared with some others that I have seen nationwide, I thought that this was...
Did you read the whole thing then?
I did.
Good. Oh. And I'm good.
I thought it was general. Well, number one,
Some people find that fun.
I agree with you that there are a lot of limitations here.
Yeah.
Virtually all of them can be effectively waived by working with the airport manager.
Yeah.
Number two, when you look at some of the other hangar rules, like in other states and stuff like that, they've taken the advisory circular beyond the max.
Right.
And I don't see that here.
Good. Yeah, I'll just bear in mind, Brian, it's very normal for people to be working on airplanes and building airplanes in hangars, because you can't build them in your garage at home, right? So it's a very normal thing, and guys have to weld up their frames, and they have to, they may have a torch that they use, they may have, different kinds of chemicals that they use, and I think that some discretion should be applied.
Oh, absolutely.
When guys are doing that sort of activity, because you have to do it at an airport, right? So, but you're right, it does reference to get with the airport manager.
And that's one of the differences from some of the others that I've read.
Yeah. Shall not.
Shall not, and that's it. There are no alternatives.
Yeah.
And the Experimental Aircraft Association went a long way to negotiating that advisory circular in its current condition, which I thought, as I said, was appropriately recognized here.
So does anybody have anything that they want to add or comment on before we vote on airport rules and regulations? Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, now there's also an emergency response plan that's been submitted, I believe. Didn't Mark Stoddicker and Nick Stoddicker spend a lot of time working on this?
He was very instrumental in that, working with Brian. As I understand it, Brian, I don't mean to steal your thunder here, but as I understand it, the two of them started talking, and Mark said, I used to have to do this for Dow when I worked at Dow. And as one of the A&Ps in Dow's operation. And that was the seed that was planted for the current arrangement.
All right. So anybody have any commentary beyond that on the emergency response plan? All right, I guess we need a motion to approve that. That's the proper way to do it. Is there a motion to approve the plan?
I'll second.
Seconded, and all those in favor? All right. New business, future event possibilities.
So this is to try to get your guys' advice on things that we should try to get out here. So, like, I know there's some airports that do like runway 5Ks, trying to get people out here to use, just so the community sees this as a value to the city and not just, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's got to be here. There's no changing it, but the more people that know about the airport, appreciate the airport, and see the value of the airport, the better. So just see if you guys have any opinions on events and suggestions for events that could be out here.
I'll start with a question.
Okay.
What is your interpretation of the special event, city special event regulations?
As far as
Okay, a runway 5K or, I don't know, an Anson door hanger or something. How would those regulations apply to this?
So some of them will require permission from the FAA, closing a runway, say, or closing the airport as a whole, which
Right.
in talking with James Chandler from MBS, because they started one 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And they have the luxury, they just close part of one runway and then go around the taxiways and stuff because they're a little bit bigger, their runways. Ours, depending on what we want to do, would be probably complete closure for up to 4 hours. That would require the blessing of the FAA. It is my understanding from other GA airports in Michigan that do this, which there's more than I thought, but there's very little pushback.
Oh, really?
Mainly just questions, well, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, NOTAMs are issued, that kind of thing. Anything that is non-aeronautical would require a special event fee. So you and I have discussed doing trunk or treat this year.
Right.
And so if we move forward with that, I would ask a couple guys, just bring your planes up for a static display. Now it's aeronautical, and so the fees are waived.
I'd say there were some people that went to one airport manager class, and the guy I think was somewhere down in the Oakland area. They did like movie nights, and they just made sure that it was an aeronautical themed movie, so they could play it and not. So it's loose on the definition of aeronautical.
Did we not do movies out here?
Yeah, so I told United Way, they told me that they tried it and had a lot of issues with the screen blowing down and all that stuff, and they had no interest in doing it again. But we could probably get somebody else who would want to do it, like in the hangar or something.
Now, in speaking with some of the other airport managers, one of the things that they recommend is that you involve a third party. In our situation, that third party would most realistically be the Valley Aero Club, because of their experience and their knowledge of the airport, and volunteers are a big deal. And so I have talked to Chuck, and I have been talking about that for a couple of years now. The Father's Day fly-in is awesome. It's a draw. They've been doing, and there's a little display or a little advertisement on the coffee table there about they have friends and family only fly-in. It's not advertised outside of that. What's this one? Tacos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tacos and burritos is next.
And chili and ice cream social and things like that. Stuff to keep our airport in front of people. It's key. And I think, guys, the next 5 years, now that these trees are gone, there's going to be some really cool, long anticipated changes here. at this airport. So Craig and I we just got an email this afternoon from Betsy preparing us for our MAP meeting on the 22nd. And so they're ready to move. MDOT's ready to move.
Yeah.
And
Great-
so
great news.
there's going to be some really neat stuff.
They have money to spend, and we just need to let them in, right?
You will be able to taxi down taxiway A and chew gum at the same time. And not chip a tooth.
I got a four-wheel driver.
So Craig and I had talked about the 5K because that was intentionally brought up in our big group meeting down in Lansing. They had a PowerPoint of it and suggestions and whatnot. So that's something we'd like to do. Another one that I was thinking about.
When you
Yes.
mentioned third party, would that be like the Bay Area Runners Club would be the third party for that?
It'd probably be the Bay Area's Runner Club working with the Valley Aero Club.
Okay.
So you got somebody from the airport that knows what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms, yeah.
And I did reach out to the Valley or the Bay Runner Club to see if they had even any interest in doing something like that, just to see if it was.
We're going to press them into service. When we get done with them, they're going to all want to apply for the event coordinator's job at the city.
Yeah, I think you want to make sure that, my opinion is,
Go background.
I'm a hard on the other side, but I understand the need to get it out, but if the only time you can get out of work is on the weekend to go fly somewhere, it'd be a bummer to get out here and find out you couldn't get your airplane out of here because there was a 5K run. So you don't want, I think you'd want to make sure you put the notice out so we get the planes out of
And
here.
I think we would only try to do at max one a month if that. I mean, it would be.
One of the things we talked about on the drive back from Lansing that day was a cross-country run using the dike only.
Yeah.
And the maintenance. And so that if I had to close a runway, it would just be the one end. And just because they're going to cross it from by the pumps there.
But if you were to close the airport one Saturday a month.
Oh, no. This would be once a year.
Oh, once a year. I thought you said
No.
Yeah.
No.
I would try to get some events out here once a month.
Community outreach is a good idea.
No. Everything else would be similar to the fly-in, the Father's Day fly-in.
Yeah, that's.
Trunk or treat would be right here, just inside the fence.
Yeah, I'm not sure trunk or treat just to stop at that for a second, I'm not sure that will even require FAA blessing.
No.
Because all it is closing a piece of the ramp. As I recall that advisory circular, it kicks in when you start closing
Taxiways
and runways.
Yes.
And so if we can stay away from that with almost any event that you could dream about.
And as you and I have talked for that event specifically, if the weather is inclement, we go in the door hangar.
Right.
Open up the doors, put everybody. It is crazy how well received that thing is by young families.
Yeah, it is.
And this year, Halloween happens to be on a Friday, and so they will be looking for that places to go.
Yeah, it's really smart because especially when you listen to the tone downtown, if some movement were coming into play about this airport, it'd be nice to have the community willing and able to stand up behind. So that's a good idea.
I've got a quick question for the two of you. The last time that I at least thought seriously about the non-aeronautical event at the airport, I read the then current version of the advisory circular that talks about it, and it was draconian in terms of the sponsorships you needed. You needed multiple sources outside the airport and sponsors that would show that community interest, and it just went on and on and on. And I talked to a couple of airports and this is some years ago, but I talked to a couple of airports in the Detroit area, and they talked about it, and they said they talked about what they had to go through to get the FAA to do it. And it was just requirement piled on top of requirement. It was like 5 times what it takes to do a special event permit for the city. Those of us who were talking about it in Valley Aero Club at the time just rolled our eyes and said, oh boy. But it sounds as though the FAA has turned a leaf on this.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, that's good news. Because in my own mind, based on that experience from years ago, I just basically threw out that idea, and that was part of the genesis for the fly-ins, because it's a purely aeronautical event, and of course the way we're structuring it, it's not a city special event. So, those have apparently planted a seed for the future.
I'd say even at the commission meeting here, the Aeronautics Commission meeting, they were talking about Midland is doing a bunch of community outreach stuff, and they want to know who's hired her full time to help plan community outreach. So I think they are all on board with trying to.
Well, that's wonderful. That is super news.
Yeah, and Sarah over in Midland is more than willing to kind of coach us through any difficult waters.
And they've got the Experimental Aircraft Association chapter to sort of as their familiar airport third party.
Right.
Great. Good news.
So, squawk list. Anybody have any squawks that they've noticed out at the airport that they need to report to the manager?
You guys been flying at night? Oh, just
It's been a while for me, but no.
I haven't flown at night.
Yeah,
Let me know.
Are the Pappies working on 2-3?
No.
Not yet.
That's
going to be a process.
going to be a process.
Is it?
That's going to be a couple of years.
Is it really?
Why would it take that long?
They're smoked. They took a lightning hit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it's not
Yeah, it's not as
politics.
no.
Okay.
So I didn't incur any expenses by calling rank. I called Clements, and they really don't like to mess with runway lights, but they came out, and Randy, one of their lead guys, he went through and he spent some time with it, and he's looking, hey, come here a minute. And I went over there, and he says, there's your problem. And he flipped the circuit board over, and it's just smoked. And so when we get close to it, the phone call will have to be made to rank. But the problem is, nobody knows if that circuit board's even available anymore. It could be a complete redo with all new technology. So
Rank is who?
J Rank out of Mount Pleasant. They do airports.
Okay.
They're certified in airports. They do all
Traffic signals.
traffic control, all that stuff.
So the circuit board's fried?
What's that?
The circuit board is fried?
Yeah, there's a circuit board.
Is the whole thing black, or does it just look?
No, it's just one little, about this half the size of a recipe card, and one little
You want to pull it out?
diode.
You want to pull it out to me and give it to me? I got a guy that works on all of our old
On that stuff?
on that stuff, yeah. And Ron Cushman is his name out of Saginaw, and he has a bench, and he'll take stuff like that and change diodes or change whatever's necessary. If the lot.
Shoot me an email to remind me, and I'd be happy to. Because we have power. We were concerned that we didn't have power there, but Randy confirmed there is power at the lights.
So if you give me that circuit, if you give me the blown circuit board, I'll bring it to him.
Okay.
There's going to be a process for it. I did with the Aeronautics Commission. I
Don't
was able.
complicate it.
Pardon?
Don't complicate it.
They've already made it complicated. I couldn't complicate it more if I wanted to. But I've been advocating with Brian, and your idea, Scott, is a great one, to get the lights able to work, okay? At that point, the state, I found out during the Aeronautics Commission, that was a really valuable session because there were as many Aeronautics Commission employees as there were spectators. And all the right people for a lot of these issues were there. And one of the things I found out was that the Aeronautics Commission will fly the lights for you. They can't certify them, but they can tell you if the FAA will certify them. Okay? At that point, you go into a line to have the FAA come with a King Air, and the preferred way to do it is for them to go from airport to airport to airport. And this is not inexpensive. It could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to bring a King Air here. And you don't want to fail that, because then you'd have to do it again. So the state says, when you're ready, we'll come and fly them, and we'll tell you whether or not they're okay. And at that point, you can go with confidence to the FAA and ask them.
So right now, if we got these working, we'd have to recertify them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
They've been unused for
12 years?
12 years now, 12, 13 years.
I didn't know that, really?
Oh, yeah. They were shut down. They were shut down at the beginning, as soon as the short freight trees became an obstruction. The FAA came and told Doug, you got to shut them down.
Yeah.
So we did. Now, the earth hasn't changed. There have been no earthquakes in the area. No one's gone and changed the adjustments to the angle of the pappies. But yes, it's been so long. The airport engineer, John Strew, was also here, and we had a discussion about that with him. And he said, yes, they do need to be recertified. I'd love to just turn back on and use them, because we all of us who fly here know how useful those pappy lights are for 2-3.
Yeah.
But there's now a process. But the state will come, like I said, when the state comes, they'll do it for free.
Yeah.
It's just part of an inspection or something.
Okay.
So you've got the foundation of point one. We got to get the lights so they turn on.
Yeah.
And so if your guy can do the diodes and the transistors, that's huge.
What's the era? Is it like a 70s era or something like that? Yeah, that's his bailiwick.
I think it's 70.
It's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 72.
Okay. That's
I can look it up.
perfect for him.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right.
Well, one other, excuse the interruption, one other question. Craig and Brian, there was some talk from Bob Dion about the taxiways. And I know it's only been a few weeks. Has there
So that was in the email to...
Oh,
I just
So that'll
glanced
be-
at them, but...
I'm sorry, I was flying a patient today.
No, it'll be
No, I
discussed.
didn't go out to everybody, no, it just came to Brian and I here like an hour before the meeting.
So you guys know what Chuck's talking about is our DPW director was in attendance all day for the commission meeting, and one of the things he brought up in we had a little sit down with our engineer during lunch, was the possibility, why are we waiting for a contractor to come in here when we have everything to do it in-house? Just tell us what the specs are.
Do it, the taxiway.
Taxiways.
Repay the taxiways. The city's got everything you need to do.
We have everything here. The city of Bay City owns it all. So why not?
We don't have a paving machine that big though, so I don't know what...
What's that?
We don't really have a paver that big though.
Well, they'd have to make 2 passes. But that would put that revenue into the street department coffers instead of out to the, and I'm doing, I guess on squawk items. The patio blocks are going away. Mark and his grandson are going to take them up. And was it $5,200 for a concrete patio and a sidewalk? So courtesy car folks can, instead of walking across the snow and the grass, can do that.
I've got the gradings that go in those.
What's that?
Those.
Yeah, you and Mark did, didn't you?
No, the gradings that go.
Oh, the grading's happening too.
I've got the grades from those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have them back, please?
Absolutely.
For the catch basin?
Yeah. So you.
Because I literally talked to our fabricator.
I got them.
Good.
All you got to do is put a tab on them, and.
I will cancel that appointment.
Yeah.
So did you get some response to Bob's idea about the taxiway?
No, we're waiting for the map cleaning because we don't need. The question we have is, will they pay for it if we do it in-house? We don't know.
Okay.
Or does it have to be an outside vendor that they contract with, like the crack sealing and the pavement markings?
So
we could technically do that ourselves also in-house.
So the
I don't think we're going to...
That's a lot of pavement to go over, but
So the question is, can the federal government contract, or can MDOT contract with the airport sponsor?
That's the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess no, because I know with arm's length, exactly, they want to have more control on it. We'll find out. We'll ask. One other thing I had was for the becoming a regional airport, there was something that had to be done, right, Brian?
I still don't understand how it's done, but Saginaw, Midland, Owasso, I want to say Gladwin and Mount Pleasant also are all receiving the designation regional airport. Now, turns out it's not a financial benefit, but I don't know, it's a feather in your cap, if you will. But
Something with logging trips, is that what it was?
sorry.
Something with logging trips, is that all it was?
Yeah, something with, not a pilot here, so I'm talking ignorance. When you guys do a flight plan and you use a GPS for takeoff or landing, whatever it is, that goes, goes into an account where the more Bay City has trips like that filed, that's what it takes.
So if the more people can do that, the better it is for us.
Yeah. So whenever you guys do a flight plan,
Has anybody been to Mount Pleasant lately? Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
Is it really?
Oh, it's,
where's that?
Mount Pleasant.
Has the place deteriorated?
yes,
Oh, wow.
yes, it's horrible. It needs to be painted. There are no markings on the. Used to be on the side. Yeah. I don't think they're getting the flying business that they got when they first opened up with the casino.
And that's the thing across from the casino, isn't it?
Yeah.
Across 20 North?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to land there yesterday for another reason, and it was horrible, just unbelievable.
Is the pavement deteriorating too?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
We wouldn't know anything about deteriorated pavement.
I got one more new business thing. The deer are
Back.
The deer are everywhere.
Yeah, I literally had 20 of them right next to me.
Friday morning, I kid you not, they were standing on those patio blocks.
Is it possible? Is it possible to do another?
I can look and yeah, well,
Last time you guys
The
did.
man with the permits.
Yeah, but last time you guys did, I don't know how many you got, but we took care of 50. We did 15 in a night when we did it. I know that there's new rules.
Yeah.
15. Okay. 16. But I know they made new rules that you want it to just be.
yeah, they wanted to just be police, but then when we had the police come out, they brought their kids with them too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll reach out and find out more if we can just get anybody who wants.
Yeah, with the way you did it, and I think the one thing I noticed when we talked about how it was done, when the state police guys came out, they basically had 2 shooting areas set up, so there was no way that any stray bullets could go anywhere. Like to stand out on the dike and shoot deer is super dangerous. Like you literally have to have 2 areas to fire, and we put infrared beacons out, and you can only fire between those beacons, and that's a really important part of the process. To have the guys go out there and have some fun, be very careful because if you've ever watched tracers go into even something like this, they'll come right out. You don't even know what's happening. So you really have to think about what's beyond the dike and not count on the dike stopping it. So there's really only 2 zones that you should be shooting in.
Okay.
And it's. I shot one of the times. The other time I just brought my stuff and let one of the city officers do it. But I think we should try to organize another one and take a large quantity out, get them cleaned up, bring them out to the food pantry and do what we did last time. So how many did you guys get last time?
I think it was only 8.
Yeah.
Food pantry on West Bronx Court in
Yeah,
Essexville.
but doing it at dusk when it gets dark, the thing is that they don't know what's going on, so if you do it suppressed, you get a lot of them. So.
I was surprised when we were out here. It was, we weren't sure what to expect. We waited for a bunch of them to come out, shot them, and missed a couple of them, and we were kind of like, oh, that's our only shot. We're not going to. They just kept coming out. They did not care.
Amazing.
You would shoot them, they'd drop, the other would walk right over the dead body. And come out. It was like, wow.
All right, well, good. Is there any other new business to bring up? No. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
And seconded? Second. All those in favor of adjourning? We're done.